Hello, I'm Greg Lill, President and CEO of DeLille Cellars.
And I'm Stacy Lill, Greg's wife and also a strategic consultant for DeLille Cellars.
DeLille Cellars was started in 1992 between my father, Charles Lill, Jay Soloff, Chris Upchurch, and myself. We just started as a small little winery, only one of 3 here in Woodinville, Washington at the time. Today there's over 100 wineries in Woodinville, so it's amazing to be a part of such dynamic and fantastic growth in the Woodinville wine industry as well as the state of Washington. DeLille Cellars is our French ancestral name. It goes back to the 1200s in the northwestern region of France. We were actually one of the original founding families that lived inside the city wall, and that's why it is of Lille. Even though our last name was Lill, we were of Lille. That's where the name DeLille Cellars comes from. We have 3 different brands, we call them here at DeLille Cellars. DeLille Cellars itself being the founding brand, which started with 2 Cabernet Merlot blends, the D2 and the Schlur Estate. Then in 1997, we started looking at Syrah and some of the Rhone style grapes and wines coming from that region. So we added our Doyen Syrah and kind of turned that into its own brand as well with a different label. And in Doyen, we also added rosé. The rosé has become so popular, and we make an actual true rosé where we bring in the grapes to actually press them for rosé. So it's a wonderful wine, especially in the summertime. And then the 3rd brand we brought along was called Grand Ciel, and that was because we provided and started a vineyard on Red Mountain, 20 acres. It's planted to Cabernet and Syrah. So we have 2 wines in the Grand Ciel brand, which is the Grand Ciel Cabernet and also Grand Ciel Syrah. And so that pretty much rounds out the 3 different portfolios and our lineup of wines. In the 20 years or so we've been doing business, probably 95% of our wines have been rated 90 points or higher. The Masters of Wine Institute is based out of London, and really very early on in our history, I think it was the 1994 vintage, got the Institute Masters of Wine Award of Excellence, which we're the only winery in Washington State that's ever received that award. Yeah, it's always a challenge, and many people don't realize that, especially with red wine. You're really making those and not selling them for 2+ years. So it's really hard to gauge your growth and where your customer base might be 2 years from now when you're making the wine. And as Stacy had mentioned, at times we have to close our wine club down because we just don't have the wine to satisfy the members. And then as the new wines start to roll in, we can open it back up again. And what's interesting about that is that with Wine Club, we use that as a really interesting experiment for our winemaking team. We're always challenging them to try a new grape or try to make or create a new wine blend. And if we find it to be successful and the people really like it, and we use our Wine Club members as our barometer for that when they do like it, which they pretty much every time do, we then will take those wines to the next level of production so we can be selling them and offering them to the public.
We have a bigger job in front of us to be making more wine and also maintaining the quality and integrity that DeLille is known for. So we've got this chateau property where we do a lot of weddings and corporate events. Down the street, about 3/10 of a mile, we have our Carriage House tasting room that we opened about 6 years ago, and it's open 7 days a week for customers, wine club members, and just people out wine tasting can stop in and try flights of our different wines or just sit and have a glass of wine and enjoy themselves. And then we just are proud to say we opened our 3rd location March of this year. It's in Kirkland. It's called Maison DeLille, so House of DeLille. It's in partnership with Realogic Sotheby's International Real Estate, and it's a wine lounge. And so it's really a lifestyle center where we want people from the community to come, sit down, have a glass of wine, share a bottle of wine with friends, listen to music. We've got live music on Wednesday and Thursday nights, and it's just a really fun place. I love how Bellevue LifeSpring really helps people in our community and in our own backyard. And there are people in Bellevue that you wouldn't think that there was as great of a need in Bellevue as there is. And the fact that Bellevue LifeSpring really comes in and helps people that need help for whatever reason is really, really something that has drawn me to it. The great thing about this event in the fall is that it helps kids. And kids are something that are very near and dear to my heart, but this helping with the break time, mealtime program for young kids is so important. And that's one of the many things that I love about this organization.
It's just amazing to think that this organization is serving 80,000 meals to children in the area here. I can't even imagine what that task must be to undertake, and to move that through the system. And to be able to provide that on an annual basis is phenomenal. It's just remarkable how this is going on. And it's also remarkable that this is happening right here in Bellevue, in our East Side community. We just don't think that this need would be there, but it really is there. It could happen to any of us to all of a sudden fall on hard times and really need these amazing services that you're providing.